The current raid on Onigashima has blessed us with horny straw hats, the new best girl to replace Nezuko, and the most hyped classic cartoon gag to hit One Piece. Seriously, all I need is just one who's who joke. Just one, that's all I'm asking. And how could I forget Black Maria? I mean, good lord, look at those legs. But more important than that is the son of Kaido, Yamato. Now, I'll be honest, I kind of wish this wasn't a thing. Personally, my first thought was that we were getting another Weevil. Also, this is another layer to an already dumb thick onion that we call Wano. But after this week's chapter, I realized that Yamato has a lot of potential for this battle. Sure, he could end up being completely irrelevant, but considering there have been 3 chapters dedicated to this guy, I'm guessing not so much. Based off of these 3 chapters, it seems Yamato could be another threat to Kaido and his crew. But before I get started, make sure to comment below with your thoughts on Yamato. I'll be doing more discussions like this for the new chapters, so make sure to comment on this week's chapter so I can hear what you have to say. Now back to business. It seems as though Yamato is an important piece of Kaido's crew. The first we learn of Yamato is at the very end of chapter 977. When this is dropped, all we learn is that Kaido apparently has a son and that he should be making an appearance for the festival. This tells us that this son has some sort of role in the Beast Pirates, otherwise Kaido wouldn't care so much that he's missing during a big event. Next, in chapter 978, Sasaki says the Tobi Roppo were called for an urgent meeting, and Ulti adds that urgent usually means there's some sort of family issue. The fact that they say this means that family issues with Kaido are not uncommon, again suggesting that this son has some role to play in the crew. Then we learn a good chunk more about the situation in chapter 979. Apparently, Kaido's son is named Yamato, he went missing earlier this day, and Kaido wants to make a big announcement about Yamato later during the festival. The importance of this announcement is highlighted by the fact that 1. Kaido was willing to bargain with the Tobi Roppo to get Yamato back, and 2. That the announcement is planned directly after the Big Mom Alliance announcement. So we know that Yamato is valuable to the Beast Pirates and that he has decided to hide away from Kaido for some unknown reason. It seems to be the case that there is some tension between Kaido and Yamato. Kaido is clearly pissed off with Yamato and even calls him an idiot when talking with the Tobi Roppo. Now, this could mean a couple of things. Taken more literally, it could be the case that Yamato isn't the brightest bulb in the Onigashima light factory. Kaido does call him an idiot, plus it would make sense that Yamato just got lost on Onigashima and didn't actually hide. In fact, now that I think about it, Yamato might actually be the Zoro of the Beast Pirates. Imagine both of them are lost and run into each other, just the two of them like, hey, are you lost? You lost? Me too, no way, we could be lost together. That would be epic. Zoro could even offer to help him, like all those cliche bits in sitcoms where it's like, hey, are you lost in aisle 7? We have your kid. This would be so epic. Anyway, that's just one possibility. The other possibility is that Yamato isn't really an idiot, and Kaido just thinks he's an idiot because he's upset with him. This is likely the case considering Kaido seems to have certain expectations of Yamato. He expects him to make an appearance for the big festival, which is why it's such a big deal that he's nowhere to be found. Assuming that this is the case, it likely follows that Yamato has a habit of disobeying Kaido. This would make sense considering the kind of guy Kaido is. Let's just take a second to talk about Kaido, specifically why he might not be the best dad. Obviously, he's a big old drunk. So far, he's done more drinking than he has fighting. So already, we can see why Yamato would be irritated with Kaido. I mean, the guy's just constantly putting away the sake. On top of that, Kaido is kind of a miserable dude. When we first meet him, we learn that he has a habit of trying to kill himself in bizarre ways. Then he talks about how he doesn't care if this boring world is destroyed. Then, when he's drunk and transforms into a dragon, like that one time I did in college, he says living is a pain in the ass. I would imagine Kaido might not be the best father, considering he just wants to be dead. Which, to be fair, is perfectly understandable. I'd be pretty upset with my dad too, if he was always missing my violin recitals because he was busy jumping off of sky islands. But that's just one reason. The other reason is purely in the nature of Kaido's role as captain of the Beast Pirates. In other words, it might be the case that Kaido's role as captain complicates his relationship with his son. Either Kaido has high hopes for Yamato and Yamato just doesn't want to be a part of the Beast Pirates, or Yamato wants to rank up in the crew, but he just isn't strong enough. I tend to think the former is the most likely of the two, considering that we are only just learning about Yamato. I mean, if Yamato was actively working to rank up in the crew, then I think we would have heard much more about him before this point. The fact that we've heard nothing about Yamato leads me to believe that he is only a member by blood and that, although he has value to the crew, he doesn't play much of an active role. This would make sense with what I said earlier about Kaido's expectations for Yamato. It also makes sense considering that Yamato seems to have no official role among the leaders of the crew. He's obviously not one of the Tobi Roppo, and he isn't one of the Calamities either, so unless he's a headliner, or even one of the numbers, it seems like Yamato has no official role in the crew. Even so, this doesn't undermine just how strong Yamato might be. Just considering that he's Kaido's son, one can imagine that Yamato is a naturally strong dude. Not necessarily wicked strong, but strong enough considering who his dad is. But we also get a hint from Black Maria, who says bringing back Yamato will be a formidable task. Now this could mean a couple of things. Either Yamato has an ability that makes it hard to catch him, or Yamato is a strong person and it won't be easy for the Tobi Roppo to stop him. While the first option isn't out of the question, I tend to think that Yamato has formidable strength. Again, this is Kaido's son we're talking about. The only question is exactly how strong Yamato is. Now, based on Black Maria's reaction, it seems as though Yamato is at least as strong as the Tobi Roppo. I'm not convinced that Yamato is much stronger than them, considering that King has handed this job over to them and decided not to carry it out himself. If Yamato was as strong as the Calamities, I imagine King would have taken matters into his own hands, like with Big Mom. So to recap, Yamato is a valuable figure, at least as strong as the Tobi Roppo, who most likely resents Kaido and the Beast Pirates. We also have Kaido making a big announcement that involves Yamato. Now, the most logical conclusion is that Kaido is sending Yamato to get married with one of Big Mom's kids. This makes sense because, like Germa, Kaido would probably want to send somebody that doesn't play a huge role in his crew. Plus, like her other alliances, Big Mom probably wants to cement it with a wedding. But what has me concerned is the fact that Kaido is apparently saving this announcement so he doesn't confuse everyone, suggesting that this will come as a surprise to the crew. Now that could be what I discussed, and Kaido thinks everyone will get worked up about the marriage. But, and this is a big but, this could also mean that Kaido plans to give Yamato a new role in the crew. This makes sense based off of this line about confusion, because it would be strange to grant power to Yamato if he really has no current role in the crew. Unfortunately, I don't know how likely this outcome is, considering there's really nothing else to support this theory. Plus, the safer bet is marriage, considering that this announcement is right after the announcement about the Big Mom alliance. Either way, it seems as though Yamato knows what's about to happen and wants nothing to do with it, which ties back to Yamato resenting Kaido. Odds are Yamato didn't like Kaido to begin with, so it makes sense that he wants nothing to do with Kaido's plans for him. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the Straw Hats come in, especially Momonosuke. Besides his strong love for the ladies, Momonosuke also has a strong love for his late father Oden. This is where a potential contrast between Momo and Yamato could come in. I find it hard to believe that Oda would introduce a son of Kaido and not have him interact with the son of Oden. Now, the logical conclusion is that Momo and Yamato will have some sort of exchange about their fathers, but after that, my guess is that Momo will be the key to gaining Yamato's help in the raid. If it's true that they both resent Kaido, then it would make sense for Momo to speak to Yamato through their common experiences as sons. Exactly how this exchange would go down is unclear. What could happen is Yamato could be inspired by Momo's love for his father, leading him to follow Momo out of pure inspiration. But even if Momo isn't the one to persuade Yamato to join the Straw Hat Alliance, I'm almost certain that Yamato will end up joining their side. Looking back, the Straw Hats have always had one of their enemies join their cause. They had Chiffon and Pudding in Whole Cake, Bon Clay in Alabasta, and even Oimo and Kashi in Eni's lobby. Seeing as how the Straw Hats tend to gain allies during their big fights, and that Onigashima is easy to get lost on since it's so big, it would work out perfectly for Yamato to turn sides and give the Straw Hats some insider knowledge. Exactly how much help Yamato will lend is unclear, but considering Yamato is hiding from Kaido, it seems like he'll want to help the Straw Hats so he can get as far away from Onigashima as possible. Anyway, that's it for this discussion. Hopefully we learn more about Yamato in the coming chapter. If you enjoyed this discussion, then make sure to like this video and support the channel. If you'd like more One Piece discussions like this one, then subscribe to the channel so you can follow along with future videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.